In the shadow of the political obstruction being used to block new voting rights legislation, at the same time the nation is witnessing a renewed assault on African American voting rights, this Martin Luther King Jr. Day, some may wonder how the civil rights leader may have responded to these extraordinary times. This is an important question, as many on the other side of this debate have sought to appropriate the legacy of Dr. King to support their agenda, selectively quoting from his speeches to paint a simplified and distorted version of his message. As a clergyman and a civil rights activist, Dr. King tended to see some issues through the lens of faith. On other issues, he anchored his response firmly in the need for America to live up to its ideals, articulated in its founding documents, specifically the Declaration of Independence and the preamble to the U.S. Constitution. In October of last year, on the 10th anniversary of the opening of Dr. King's memorial on the National Mall, and after the Senate yet again filibustered much-needed voting rights legislation, President Joe Biden visited the civil rights leader's memorial, directly tying his priorities on police reform, climate change, and most importantly, voting rights to Dr. King's work toward racial justice. Evoking King's words and legacy, Biden noted how the nation is still in the process of living up to its stated ideals. I know that progress does not come fast enough, the president acknowledged. It never has. While these words might leave some feeling frustrated or even discouraged, Dr. King would have been the first to acknowledge that freedom is a constant struggle in which we all have an important part to play. As King explained in his final essay, A Testament of Hope, published the year after his death, the Black Revolution was never solely about the issue of civil rights, but about, quote, forcing America to face all of its interrelated flaws, end quote. The movement, he explained, was exposing the evils that are rooted deeply in the whole structure of our society. It reveals systemic rather than superficial flaws and suggests that radical reconstruction of society itself is the real issue to be faced. We can see those issues clearly in the current battle over voting rights. So what would Dr. King say about the current crisis today? We only need to look back at a speech he delivered on the second anniversary of the Supreme Court's decision in Brown versus Board of Education. In that speech, delivered May 17, 1957, entitled Give Us the Ballot, King argued, and I quote, "The denial of this sacred right is a tragic betrayal of the highest mandates of our democratic tradition. And so our most urgent request to the President of the United States and every member of Congress is give us the right to vote. Give us the ballot," King continued, "and we will no longer have to worry the federal government about basic rights. Give us the ballot and we will no longer plead to the federal government for passage of anti-lynching law. We will, by the power of our vote, write the law on the statute books of the South and bring an end to the dastardly acts of the hooded perpetrators of violence. Give us the ballot and we will transform the salient misdeeds of bloodthirsty mobs into the calculated good deeds of orderly citizens. Give us the ballot and we will fill our legislative halls with men of goodwill and send to the sacred halls of Congress men who will not sign a Southern Manifesto because of their devotion to the Manifesto of Justice. Give us the ballot and we will place judges on the benches of the South who will do justly and love mercy, and will at the head of the Southern states governors who will and who have not felt only the tang of the human but the glow of the divine. Give us the ballot and we will quietly and nonviolently, without rancor or bitterness, implement the Supreme Court's decision on May 17, 1954, end quote. In this moment, when the right to vote for African Americans once again hangs in the balance, let us remember King's words. Rise above the rancor and bitterness and get to work this Justice Sunday to organize for the important labor ahead. This is our New Testament of hope, to ensure that the right to vote will never again be restricted, abridged, denied based on race, color, or previous condition of servitude, or any other criteria that arbitrarily relegates individuals to second-class citizenship. Thank you.